Welcome back to another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. I am your host, Zachary Small, joined by the one and only Anthony Bigliarito. Anthony, what's going on, man?
Life is good, brother. How we doing?
Doing well. I like the frame that you had there, maintaining that composure real quick. But that's important because we are talking about frame today. We're talking about frame with a newborn child, which brings in a different set of complications that most men are dealing with. A lot of men come to us and they're talking about, hey, how can I better connect with my kids? Many are, how can I dial myself in? Or how can I get over my childhood? Today, we're talking about what do I do with a new life in my relationship with my wife? So it's not only new to them, but it's new to them and their woman, if she's in the picture. And so, how do you navigate having a newborn baby while staying focused on your mission as a man and just handling the stress that comes with that, which for many, especially first time dads, there's not much you could really prepare for with that. There's classes, there's a lot of discussions, a lot of the wives will talk, but how do you really prepare for a baby that literally needs you to exist and live? It's an interesting discussion. So we're going to talk about how to maintain frame, and we're not going to go into the weeds on everything you need to do with a newborn. This is specifically about how do you keep yourself from blowing up? How do you keep that stress from just being so much that you just snap and freak out and you and your lady are at each other's throats with the newborn in the house? We're talking about peaceful parenting. Let's start out peacefully. So, Anthony, when you had your first child, and we'll kind of go through both of our first kid and then having a newborn with other kids, what would you say the biggest change was? And what would you say the biggest surprise was?
Man,
You got to go back,
the
huh?
yeah, it was a long time ago. Many moons ago. 24 years ago. Um, I don't know, man. I would say, one of the biggest surprises was how dependent a baby is on their parents. And that's what tests you, right? That's what is going to see what you're made out of, really. And I would say that being raised in a home like where my father was very, you have to do hard things, you have to work, you have to be tough. To a degree, that helped me, right? That made me realize that, hey, man, this is one of those tough things, right? This is something that is going to push me, is going to test me, and having a little child that utterly and just totally depends on everything that you do, right? They depend on you to eat, to comfort them when they sleep, to change their diapers. Um, so that shocked me, right? As a 19-year-old, 20-year-old man, that was something I've never dealt with before, right? I never had somebody who depended on me for so much. So I would say that's part of the frame for me, right? Is staying in that frame, staying in a strong and determined and positive mindset, is knowing that this experience that you're going through, um, it's something that should be cherished, right? It's something that you should honor instead of seeing it as something that's going to kick your ass. And unfortunately, the mainstream narrative, the narrative that you hear from most men, is kids are tough, right? You're gonna get your ass kicked. They're never gonna sleep. You tell guys you have a baby, and they're like, oh, good luck sleeping. So there's this already preconceived notion that it's stressful, that it's fearful, and that you're gonna get your ass kicked. I think as men, we need to be okay with that to a degree, right? We need to be like, all right, yeah, no problem, bring it on. Whatever this little baby is gonna throw my way, I have to handle it. Not just for me, but now we have somebody who's dependent on us, right? Somebody who we actually have to do good. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't think about this either. And me and you talk about this all the time, but your demeanor, your attitude, what you're saying, even to a 1 month old, is super critical, important to them developing and having a good attachment with you. So that's even more so, right? You have to be dialed in. You can't be out in a different spot thinking that, oh my God, things are hard, things are bad. How am I going to do this? I can't do this. Fortunately, those are things that you should have shedded from your life and your personality years ago. But now you're going to be tested 100% with a baby. So I would say that it definitely scared the shit out of me. But I knew deep down in my heart that this is something that was going to make me stronger.
And that's the thing with a newborn, you can't really prepare for a newborn. You can, like I said, you can take the classes, you can watch the videos, you can baby proof the home, but to have a child that now needs you, you've never experienced that before. There's no way to replicate it. There's no way to simulate it. You just do it. And so that's the thing. You just accept it. Hey, this is going to change things. Whatever it is, I can adapt and overcome. That's what men do. So how do you prepare for this? How do you maintain frame? Well, you can't dictate the weather either. You can't control other people's actions either. So what do? You just work with what you've got. If it's going to rain today, cool. Go dance in the rain. Have a good time. Don't let it ruin your mood. Somebody else wants to go off the rails. Cool. That's a them problem, not a you problem. This baby's coming into your world. Cool. Let's see what we got to do. Whatever you need to do to sleep, working with your spouse. That's a big one. Don't let the frustrations build up to where you're barking at each other. You're a man, and now it's time to lead. And a lot of men who crumble, man, you were just sitting there tweeting about, I'm the king. I'm going to lead the way. The government tries to take me on. I'm going to show them. Bro, you're being broken by somebody who's a day old. And you think you can withstand a government that's centuries old? I don't think so. But those men who do have that frame, that center of self, they operate within their reality. Man, that baby can keep them up for 4 days straight, and they're still going to be locked on because they understand, yes, I'm tired. Yes, I have needs. My son and wife, it was kind of a special circumstance because he almost died getting out, and that almost killed her. So that's a whole separate podcast, but they both didn't almost make it to the world. So I was in a state of just happy they were alive. So nothing could phase me. I didn't need to eat. I didn't need to sleep. I didn't need anything. I just needed to make sure my family was good. In that, though, I realized I needed to take care of myself. So I made sure I was sneaking away to grab food. I was sneaking away, get the naps in when I could. I wasn't trying to be Mr. like, oh, I'm a hero. I was like, hey, Jackie, I've got to sleep. Like, are you good now to watch him? Because I've got to get some shut eye. That way I can come back and help you out. And so we work together as a team. So how do you maintain frame? You act like a man. It doesn't change. It doesn't change if it's a newborn baby, if it's a puppy. It doesn't change if it's a new business. To me, frame is reality. And when it comes to newborn kids, because of the attachment with it being a baby, because of it having that sense of it's supposed to suck, you're not going to sleep, all these stupid things, people, they allow that to enter their life. Man, I had a great time. My kids are born. I was doing better than I was doing when I didn't have them. I'm more productive now as a man with kids in my life than I was before I had children. Like, let that sink in. These kids who need me every day taught me and showed me why and how to lock my life and just kind of shape it around what my values and my mission is. Without them, it's kind of like, nobody really cares. I can just do my thing, and Jackie was along for the ride, and cool. With kids, though, I was like, oh, I have a responsibility here, and I've got to take care of myself. So now I've really got to prioritize these things, and I got a lot better. Would you say, was there anything you were unprepared for? Is there anything that we're not thinking about? Because obviously, own your shit's a great response, and that could have been the whole video. Just own your shit, man. Act like a man. But was there something you wish you knew or you weren't prepared for that, you advise new fathers now so they don't fall into that hole?
Oh man, was there things I wish I knew? Yeah, man, every day. Come on. There's always looking back, right? And wondering or thinking about what I could have done better or what could have helped me more. Um, yeah, so I would say if you're a father and you have a baby, you're a brand new father, the best thing that is going to help you is being able to be honest with your family. So when I was younger, I wish I would have known how powerful it was to be assertive, to be able, and I mean this by like being able to say, hey, listen, I need your help. I need you to do this for me, and not see it as a weakness or I can do this by myself. And when I say family, I don't just mean my wife. Like I mean my mother, father, grandparents. Um, I wish that I was able to convey that in a better way, right? Instead of being nervous or thinking I was unprepared, I wish I was able to ask for help more. And the same thing will go with, you know, being, and I'm sure you went through this, being 20 years old and having a baby. My friends, gone.
Yeah.
No, but nobody wanted anything to do with me. They were like, dude, you got a kid, your life is ruined. And to a degree, you start to believe that, right? We believe these little lies that are told to us. So it took me a while to get out of that, right? To be like, oh, where'd all my friends go? Why does nobody want to help me or even hang out with me? So I would say be real clear about who you keep around you. Be real clear about what it is that you need, because when you can ask for things that you need, you start to see the people who really care about you, right? If you're quiet and you don't say shit and you just wallowing in your own self-pity and being a victim, you're never going to know who's going to step up and help you when the time is needed. So that would be my advice.
I think if I had to add to that, it would be the fact that you don't need half the shit you're told you need. Like, women have been having babies in caves for a long time. They've been having babies in fields for a long time. They've been having babies with places that had the worst medical instruments for a long time. And I remember when we were having our first, Jackie was like, "Oh, I think we need this," and then her parents were like, "Oh, well, we need that," and then my parents, "Make sure you get this." Dude, we had so many things, and we're incredibly loved. And this isn't a complaint; it's more as in an understanding after the fact. So I'm not saying, "Oh, damn you all to hell for buying us these great gifts." Like, no, it's wicked appreciated. But looking back, all we needed was each other, diapers and wipes. If I had to pick, like, that's all we really needed. You know, the swings, the diaper bag things, there was so much stuff that it was just like almost overwhelming because what do I do with all these things? You didn't need half of them. All I need is to connect with my kid. That's the priority. So something
Yeah.
that surprised me, and I guess I learned after the fact, and we adjusted to with our second one, was that what do you need? You need to connect to your kid. Don't let your lady get down if you're in a situation where you can't afford the higher end things. You don't need a $5,000 stroller. I mean, you're
Who the hell buys a $5,000?
we had like a $300 stroller, and I thought that was too much. I'm like, it's a fucking stroller, man. It might have been more than that. It was actually really nice. It was made by Jeep. Regardless, we did have a nice stroller, but you didn't need it. You didn't need like the high end car seat carrier. You didn't need like all these fancy things that came with it, because I mean, raising a baby, having a baby, it's more about that relationship and keeping it safe. And there are very few things required to make that happen. And so that really stood out to me, in that I don't ever want to see parents getting down because they don't have this or that. Like, you have each other, you have that life. We really need to bring things into focus. And maybe, I'm 35, things are growing, and I'm starting to look back. I've had my oldest is 12. I haven't had a newborn, or my youngest is 9. So the further away from it you are, the less you worry about it. And I get, when we were in it, we were way worried. It's a baby, it's coming, it's going to change our life. And now I'm like, look, my kids have turned out great, and we did have, with my son, we had those things. My daughter, we didn't. We really, like I said, we focused just on having her and being connected. And so it's interesting to see what your priorities are after the fact instead of when you're in it. And so I hope people watching this can understand, you need you. You need you calm, collected, connected. That's what you need. And when it comes to the discussion of frame with newborns, the world is going to push a very consumer driven focus. People ask me all the time, what are the books I need to read? I was like, whichever ones bring peace to your life. Whatever book brings peace to your life, that's the book to read. Well, what things do I need to buy? Diaper and wipes. And, I don't give these great lists. I'm sure there are some good books. I'm sure you know better books than I do for newborns that are coming into it. But I would say it wasn't the book, it was the mindset. It wasn't the items, it was the mindset. Like, everything that they're saying what they need, it was the mindset. Focus everything there. And then when you're sleep deprived, you're not angry. You're embracing the suck. And it's like, why do people run Spartan races? You can go on the road, you can run for free. You can go and you can climb the woods for free. Why do people love to pay for things that get them muddy and nasty and gross? Dude, they love the experience. And this is another one of those experiences that you can just enjoy if you choose to. And when you don't really have to pay for a baby, you kind of have to pay for a baby. Kids aren't cheap. I'm saying, you don't, unless you're buying the prostitute to get the kid, you're not paying for the baby. It's everything that comes with the baby that you're paying for. But the experience of raising that child, dude, I shared a photo not too long ago on Twitter of me passed out, and my son was sleeping on my chest, and I was in my fatigues, and I was just like racked out. And I was like, I'm living my best life. It was me, 22 years old. He was a few months old, and I was like, I'm living my best life. Exhausted with that kid. That was the joy. Those were the memories. And so people think they have to maintain this permanent sense of comfort and this permanent state of everything's balanced. No, dude, I was tired. I was hungry, and I would spend my time holding him, and it was just craziness. And I loved every minute of it because I allowed myself to enjoy that process.
Hell yeah, man. That's what being a father is about, to a degree, right? We have to be really clear on the mission. And I mean, I don't know if you went through this, but when I had my 2 daughters, we were probably like 22, 23. We had a small little ass house, our first house we bought. And going back to you saying with the grandparents buying gifts, My whole house, it was like a 900 square foot house. It was filled with shit we didn't need, right? We had 35 swings, 45 diaper bags, playpens, high chairs. And it all it did was create chaos in the home, right? It was way too much, but everybody wants to help. And I think just to emphasize that point, right? It's the little things, the finer things in life. We definitely do need a transition back to what's important, right? Family values, connection, and time. And I think that once that happens, we'll move away from all the materialistic shit and trying to fill voids with that, with those objects. So to me, that's important, right? Is again, we say it all the time: connection, connection, connection. Keep building with your kids, and you know, don't don't put any don't have any preconceived notions about how things are supposed to go, man. Just live it, enjoy it, be a part of what's happening. If you do get stressed out, there's DMs open on us all the time. There's things that we would be thrilled to hear any questions or comments or anything that you guys are going through. Right, that's what we're here for. We're here to help fathers, parents, anybody going through tough times because we've lived it, we've been through it, and so far we've been doing okay. We've been getting through it.
Yeah, the kids are still moving and grooving, and we talk about a man's frame. But what were you doing before the kid? The kid shouldn't change that. You keep doing what you were doing. You're taking responsibility for your family, yourself. You're pushing yourself to be your best, and then when the kid arrives, it's just a new variable. There might be less sleep. You might have to pay a little bit more attention to your spouse. If she's stressed out from lack of sleep or breastfeeding, or if she can't breastfeed, bottle feeding, her image, like her body has to recover. There's a lot of things that the women go through that it's new to just you and her operating on your own throughout the world. So just pay attention. I mean, this is nothing new. It's not that complicated. There's no need for us to go an hour and a half video into this. But we are going to have some men on with newborns who are going to talk and share their story. So you can stay tuned for that. But again, don't make this more difficult than it has to be. Leading your family, leading yourself, leading newborns, dealing with it. A lot of people want it to be more complicated because then you can sell a book on it, because then you can talk for an hour and a half, then you can promote courses and all these things. And look, I'm telling you right now, just focus on your family and own your shit. Act like a man. Take responsibility for who you are, where you're going. It's not that hard when a newborn arrives. Now, raising kids, much more difficult. I mean, you should invest in the books on that because that's much more of guiding that thing through life, that young man or woman. So I'm specifically talking babies. They're babies. We've been doing it for centuries. Just show up, be there, be present, enjoy the ride. If you've liked this episode, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, drop the comment if you have a question. We can dive into it. More importantly, take what we just said and go apply it. If you're having a baby soon or you recently had one, evaluate yourself. Ask yourself, how are you doing? Are you checking on your lady? Are you checking on yourself? Are you allowing yourself to focus on what really matters, which is connection to that child and the family? Don't let anything split that up and you'll do all right. This has been another episode on Oak and Rock Fatherhood. You guys stay